I can direct Excel to do something, which means I can ask Excel to start a new text, start a new formula, uh, go to a particular cell. You can do anything running into this particular if loop. So if this logical test is true, I have to tell Excel what to do. What to do if true, and then what to do if false. If the condition is not correct, what should be done? If the condition is correct, what is to be done? That is what your if loop tells you. So how do we apply this? Say for example, in this case, I don't need true and false. I need fail and pass. So let's apply this if loop for a small data, for this data. So we'll say equal to if, and passing we'll keep it as 50. If the marks in Hindi is greater than 50, I'll say pass, or else fail. Just autofill this. Wherever the marks are 50 or less than 50, the student is failed. Rest all the places, it's pass. That's a basic use of an if loop. If the condition pass or fail. Now, this is one way. And now what we need to do is, we will have more than one subjects normally. For one condition, it is very easy. When we have to check more than one condition, then you have to use and, yeah, or depending on the condition. Now, in this case, and is a more appropriate argument, because student pass when he has cleared marks in all the subjects. When he has cleared Hindi, he has cleared English, he has cleared maths, then only you should get a pass. So in that case, we'll write like this, equal to if. Now, logical test will have and here. Why logical test will have and here? Because we need to check more than one condition. And if by default can check only one condition. So we'll say and this is greater than 50, comma, marks in English greater than 50. And if you're doing for the first time, just speak, keep talking to Excel. If marks in Hindi, maths greater than 50. So all three conditions done, close the bracket. Now look at the syntax, which is here, bottom. As soon as I close the bracket, it goes back to if loop. So if it is not going back to if loop, that means we are not doing it correct. Now put a comma. What if the value is true? We'll say pass. What if the value is not true? We'll say failed. And close the bracket. Now, wherever we had true here, we'll get a pass here. And wherever we have false here, we'll get a fail. Because and is generating inside the if loop, and is generating this true and false. So when and generates a true, it's a pass. When it generates a false, it is a fail. So wherever we had false, we have fail. Wherever we had true, we have pass. So this is how we can use if loop to create something. Fail, pass, or greater than something. You can just check this entire thing. You can also have an output that we were talking about. If balance sheet is not tallied, if say balance sheet balance is not 0, so it will say not balance, and as soon as the value comes in not balance, it will become red. For example, you can use it like this. Let's say if the value in this cell is 0, then it should become red. So we can write like this: if this cell is equal to 0, then the text should be it's 0, and next it should be not 0. Right? So let's see, we have text like this. If this cell is 0, then it's 0, and if it is not, it's not 0. Now you can apply conditional formatting into it to change it green blue. So go to conditional format, text that contains. You can either write it manually. You can select this cell and say if it is 0, let it go red, and write something else. It's not 0, format, text and contains, not 0. Let us make it yellow. So you have to write it manually in that case. So you can have this manual flipping, and a practical example would be balance sheet. I don't want to go into that side, but whatever you are checking, you can have those color combinations running in there based on what your requirement is. So if loop can be used for this as well. So again, going into the extension of this, utilizing the if loop to do some calculations. Let's say we have a incentive thing here. This is a revenue from computer and revenue from mouse. These are few employees who have generated some revenue. And now company decided to give them incentive. Now incentive will be given if they have score more than this threshold. And if you want to include the threshold, then you should be greater than equal to sign will come. Let's say we are including the threshold. So if both the conditions are met, then only I'll give them incentive, and incentive will be 10% of total revenue. So when both the conditions are met, I should give them incentive, and incentive will be 10% of the total revenue. Now, problem that we have in this data is we do not have a total column. Total revenue column is not there only. So what do? We create an extra column, or we do this inside the if loop only. So we'll say equal to if, and this is greater than or equal to 60, comma, mouse greater than equal to 70, and close the bracket. If this gives me a true, then what should I do? I should give them 10% of the total revenue, which is revenue from computers plus revenue from mouse. So first let me add sum, both of them, into 10%. So instead of creating a separate column, I am doing this calculation inside the formula only. First add both the revenues and give the 10%. And if it is not there, I'll say no incentive. So this guy will not get incentive, and just fill this up. So wherever both the conditions are met are the people who are getting incentive. And to check, just add both of them, sum of this and this, and 10% of this would be 16.2 only. So instead of creating this externally, I have created this entire thing internally. So that was why I'm doing these combination. That is how you can put this entire thing into a single cell. On the face of it, it might look big, but it is not big. It's a very simple thing. Now, how do you practice when you get this entire files? The entire videos will be uploaded on the LMS. What you should be doing is play the video, pause it up, and take this week. I'll just discuss with Ankita based on timing and thing. We'll keep some time to have a one-on-one, or I'll call all of you at one place so that we can have discussion on any trouble that you have. I'll give you the email ID where you can put a mail with your doubts, and I'll send across the entire solutions to you. So pause it up and do it one by one. If you're good at it, you can just leave, but I'll still suggest you take a time out to find the answers. Even if you are good at sum if or countifs and things, just put a formula. If you're getting the answer right, done. You can move to the next. So this is not big. You can break it to fractions and read it like this. First is and, where I'm just checking the conditions. The conditions will either give me true or they'll give me false. So when they give me true, I'll move to the next one, which is sum of both of them. Why I'm doing a sum inside? Remember, I do not need to put this equal to sign again anywhere to start a formula. 1 equal to is good enough. So I said add both of them. If this guy is getting a revenue, so he should get the total of this. So add both of them and give the 10%. And if he's not meeting the criteria, don't give him incentive. So this is how we can work it out on this part. The last part of this, nested if. If within an if loop, which can be avoided after we do a lookup. When we talk about VLOOKUP, but some places it cannot be avoided, so you should know the basics of this. What I'm doing can easily be done with a lookup function, but just to explain you the nested if, we need to do this. Let's say this is 3 fruits, and their prices. So what I want here is when I enter the fruit name, let's say I Apple entered banana, I should get the price. That's basically a lookup. But if you're not using lookup, this can be done using the if loop also. So we'll say equal to if. What is the logical test? Whatever is entered inside this cell is equal to banana. What you need to remember is spelling should be correct. Capital small does not make any difference. And if you do not want to write it manually, you can also link it to the cell. I'll show you that. If this is equal to banana, if this is true, then what should I get? The price of banana. What if the customer has not entered banana, he entered apple or orange? In that case, I have to run this if loop again, which is value if false. So we'll have to again start a if loop and hit tab. Now, if you look at here, the first bracket always comes as black. Then the color combination happens. See, the next if bracket is red in color. So that basically helps you out in closing the brackets at the end. So if whatever is written in this cell is equal to apple. Now I'm not writing it manually, I'm linking it to a cell. Then get the price of apple, comma. Again if, because we have one more fruit left. We have only done banana and apple. So if whatever is written in this cell is equal to orange, comma, I should get the price of orange. Now put a comma, all fruits run. What if he writes pineapple? Then I'll write here, after I have checked all my conditions, I'll say not in store. If he writes anything else, it is not in store. Now see how many brackets have we opened? 1, 2, 3. So how many we need to close? 3. The other way around is how many conditions that we have to check would be the number of if loops that we are opening. And the first loop is black, so the closing end loop will also be black. 1, 2, and 3. And hit enter. So when you find banana, you'll get 50. Now let's write orange. You'll get 250, or like pineapple. You'll forget not in store. This is what we call it as nested if. And you can also put a data validation here when someone, instead of entering, can just take it from the drop down. So you have seen if, the uses of if, and the nested if. So as and when our requirement is there, we can utilize this